everybody. Welcome. It's time for our weekly Q&A session. So everybody, if you have questions about Helidon, we have an expert here.
Maybe I had one question for Helidon. We have tried to build the Helidon by uns. And there are some plugins, some generate code, JXB and andere. Gibt es somewhere some Anleitung, tutorial how we can successfully import this, for example, to IntelliJ, where I can, for example, switch the source folders to the target to load these files. But is it generally something what we can use?
There is a supported idea for the microprofile, which we are implementing with Helidon. So all the features that helps you to develop the microprofile stuff should help you. We don't have any, like Helidon plugin for IDEA, anything like that. There is a lot of support for Jakarta, which is also, like the part of the microprofile spec. Some of the specifications used by microprofile umbrella are actually from Jakarta, so IDEA has great support for that too. So you will have to rely on that. We are working on plugin to Visual Studio Code editor. I'm personally not using it, so I don't know much about it, but there is some work in progress in that direction. I don't know any date for that. But we don't have any specialized plugin for IDEA because we are trying to implement as much the spec as possible. So if there's already, like the support from JetBrains, we don't want to pollute it with our customized stuff.
Okay, so there should be some standard extension what exists on the market. Okay, we will try it.
For the Jakarta, you can generate the endpoints. I think there you need some intentions in IDEA or something like that.
Okay, thank you. We will try it.
So maybe one question regarding Helidon. I experimented a little bit with it, and I tried to register an exception mapper, and I had problems that it ignores my exception mapper. Is there a known issue there? I read something in the internet, but I'm not sure.
Exception mapper, or did I understand well?
Yes, exactly. An exception mapper. I want to cause my application exceptions and translate it to a certain response, basically containing the error, the business error message, and displaying it in the client.
You mean like in the REST endpoint? Or?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. We are using Jersey implementation. So the exception mappers are exactly the same like in the Jersey. If you are talking about the Helidon endpoint.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you visit the documentation of the Jersey, I'm sure it's explained there how to map the exceptions. They have really lot of documentation and it's well written.
Probably I've done something wrong, but yesterday I did not manage to find the issue, so I thought I ask. But okay, I will read the documentation and see.
But if you have any concrete problem, just you can find us on the Slack channel and post the example there, and we can take a look.
Yeah.
So
okay.
We are actually the same. The colleagues who are working on the Jersey are actually in the same team, so we can ask them directly.
This is good. Thank you.
Hey, Daniel, I have a question about Helidon, by the way. Maybe it's a stupid question, maybe it is not. So last time I asked the question already, and Dimitri told me it is not possible to build a monolith with Helidon. And I was wondering why? Does a service know whether it is a microservice or a monolith. So why is it not possible to build a monolith with Helidon?
It's possible to build a really big microservice, but yeah, like for example, you can with a monolith application, you can like expose on the more ports, and it's not possible with Helidon intentionally. So if you want to expose the some protocol on one port and some other on the other, you have to actually start two services, and that's what makes force you to do the stuff smaller. You can combine other technologies like not the web stuff, but you can use the messaging and RSocket or expose a port to yourself. If you will try really hard, I'm sure you will able to
okay.
Create a monolith from anything.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm responsible for the stupid question, so. But all the other people are afraid of asking stupid questions, so this.
But I have to say, I have heard this same question like a week ago somewhere on the Slack. So I don't think it's a stupid question. It's just now that everyone is discovering that maybe they don't want to have the thousands of microservices, but they are finding the new names for the not so microservices. So there are this macro services,
yeah.
Somewhat call it. So I think every use case is looking for its own fitting box.
So, but this is an interesting question. How big or what is the maximum size of one microservice? I think that's interesting.
Yeah,
but there is also, so I have a question, especially to all that microservices stuff. I understand all that things to separate different parts in microservices. That's clear. But how to build a proper UI for all that business logic stuff? But this a UI has to be built as a monolith, right?
It doesn't. Why?
Or how to split up the UI? Okay, so.
You can like redirect to another parts of the if it's not the single page.
Okay, I see. Yeah.
You can do that even like secretly. That you are actually can download the parts of the static content. Also, it's quite usual when I was working in a bank that there was like the modules which were only serving the UI, and then there was a lot of microservices which was
so all the pages are single pages and they navigate to the different pages. Okay, I understand.
Yes. That's how I remember it from the bank, but in the banks the UIs are not the best ones on the market.
Okay, understand. Yes.
Hello to all. Yes, what is about mapping? When you have many microservices, you can map the data to DTOs, and so you can have different sources for one DTO. So I can get part of the data from one microservice and the other part of another microservice and put them in one DTO class, map them. And so I get the DTO and lead them to the GUI, to the UI. I fetch the DTO classes to fill my UI, not over the entities.
I'm not sure what's the question, but you can use JSON. It's also made in our team. So
okay,
for mapping to the your DTO to the JSON. If you want to map DTOs between each other, I've been using Dozer some years back, but it's not my area of expertise, and maybe it's obsolete tech now. But,
without DTO is better. Okay, JSON I use when I use REST services. And,
yes. So yeah, definitely use JSON. It's the best one.
JSON. And when you use Vaadin, you don't need it. The REST services.
Yes, it's if I remember Vaadin, it's really long. I had the book of Vaadin, even the physical one.
Okay.
But it's really long time. I'm not sure how much the Vaadin is used nowadays. But the main difference with Vaadin was that it was generated on the server, right? If I remember,
yes.
It's like GWT, but all is generated on the server. If I remember it correctly.
Yes, the old version to 14, I think, but the new one you can put the logic to the client when you want. Yes,
yeah, the history is making the full circle back.
To version 14, this is right, I think.
Yeah,
but
I think I don't know. I haven't used it a long time, but I think the reason is that they are pre-generating something on the server side, so you don't have to create the JSON yourself, but they are doing it somehow internally.
Okay, thank you.
I have maybe a question this time not related to Helidon, but to MicroStream. I like to experiment a little bit with using MicroStream to clone objects in the memory. Well, I do not really find hints in the documentation where to start experimenting. Maybe there are some hints you can give me where I can start.
Yeah, that part isn't really well documented yet. That's right. You have two possibilities. The easier one is to wait for the next release, because we will ship a deep object copy functionality with it based on our serializer, or I can give you code snippets to do that. It's not too hard to do if you know where to look, but that's not documented yet. But the next release will contain a object copier type. You can configure it like the storage or the COM layer based on a foundation with on type handlers and field handlers and all possible configurations like in the persistence engine. And with this helper class or utility class, you can make deep copies of object graphs.
Oh, very good. Yeah. When will this be available?
I guess in end of February or first week of March. Yeah.
Yeah, then it would be nice if I can get a code snippet or so I may try to use it in the hackathon.
Yeah, sure. I can send it to you. No, that's no problem.
There's a new version of Rapidclipse today online, and I've done the mistake to update it from the old version, and so I get some problems. I think it's better to download it new and then install the new version, not to update to the old Rapidclipse version. My question is, there's something new features for MicroStream in it?
No, not for MicroStream, but for Rapidclipse, yes, but not for MicroStream.
I want to say thank you. Yes, but the article about Helidon in German was published.
Yes.
And it's so nice. It's so nice to read it and see it. Thank you so much for making it possible. And so whenever you have any questions like introduction you need, or just try to code, so you get it directly in German language already there in the magazine. And I really hope that there will be feedback. And I really want I really would be great if somebody find this useful. I mean, really useful. At least my friends, German-speaking friends on Twitter said it's nice. So I hope for the MicroStream community, this also gonna give benefits. By the way, there's a typo. I just found it. If you scroll down, you scroll down to the bottom. Yeah, scroll down to the full bottom. Yeah. Like, where is my name? Yeah, my name is like Dmitry Alexandrov, and there's an additional R at the end. Author.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a typo, but that's not a problem. I just found it myself.
Great job. Thank you, Dimitri, for writing this a fantastic article. So there's a lot of know-how in this article. So have a look on this article, try the code snippets, and yeah, give us feedback. So give Dimitri feedback. We're looking forward to hear your comments about that.
Yeah, just on Twitter or whatever, find whatever useful way you find. Just with me in German is also possible. So as I wrote it in German, I hope I'll be able to answer the questions in German as well.
I have a little additional question regarding building Helidon. I can build it on the command line with Maven. It's no problem, but I can't build the tests. During the tests, I get an error saying config missing token GraalVM. Maybe you know what I'm doing wrong.
Well, for GraalVM, you really have to read some documentation about it, because just setting up a GraalVM is a well, kind of tricky stuff. So by the way, in this article, which is published, just have a look at it. There is a special point when you see actually how we set up Helidon for GraalVM. So you have to first download the GraalVM, and then you have to do some additional comment over this GraalVM and make it available, actually, make it available. Well, with this native image comment should be available. After you do this installation steps, I don't see any troubles can happen. So just try it this way. I mean,
okay, so
yeah.
I will
Yes,
take some time and read that article, your article,
yeah,
and see if I get that problem.
absolutely. So whenever you got some issues, just by Marcus or on my Twitter handle, you can just type me and I will do my best to help you.
Thank you very much.
So I also had some problems getting the native image running under Windows. So is it really running under Windows, or is it a little bit more difficult, I think?
I can't guarantee it will run on Windows for now. I really don't, because it's like from the very beginning, it's like experimental stuff. So Linux and Mac are doing their stuff nicely, but Windows, I don't think it's in the right state right now.
No, I don't think that is really correct. You always can use a Linux subsystem for Windows, right? And it basically gives you a Linux on Windows. There you can build stuff and it's supposed to work, right? At least that's what I tried to do and it was working. And regarding GraalVM stuff, the proper installation, it's actually not too complicated. You just need to install it from the binary. Then the point can be you will need to create an environment variable, right? I think it's called GraalVM_home, if I'm not wrong, right? Which points to GraalVM installation, right? These two steps are required, right, for using GraalVM with Helidon. Possibly you forgot to add GraalVM home variable, right?
Yeah.
So you have to install the GraalVM for this Linux system for Windows, because I always had the problem that Helidon did not find this shell to start the GraalVM.
These are two separate questions. So I was answering how to use Linux on Windows. It was first question. Use Windows. Use Linux subsystem for Windows. And the second question was related to GraalVM installation, right? So you just install it from binary and add the environment variable. Then if you use Linux subsystem for Windows, I hope it will work, right? I don't know. I didn't try it on Linux subsystem, but it's a way to do it.
Yeah, but it's a good tip to try as a subsystem for Linux.
Well, yes, I mean, it's a way to do this, although as far as I know, so GraalVM is still missing something for Windows.
In this case, it won't become native, right? So basically, when you use it for Linux subsystem for Windows, you will use GraalVM for Linux, right? Not for Windows, and it should work without any problems. Try it out. Let us know.
Yeah, I will try again. Thank you. Well, and one further question regarding Helidon comes to my mind right now. So it's a little time ago, I tried to use the command line interface tool, but I wanted to use it on the Windows, and I saw that this is currently not available under Windows. Is it still not available?
Well, as far as I know, it exactly uses this native images to build. Actually, we use native images to build this tool. So, as far as I know, we only have Linux and Mux for now. And if you want to use it in Windows, there will be this Linux subsystem as a way to do this.
Just hold on a second. Folks were working on making it available on Windows, right? So I need to find out what's the status of that. If you give me 5 minutes, I'll try to find out.
Again,
very good.
Through those minutes, I have heard some times ago that there were some working prototype already, but so it's close. But I'm using it in the subshell on Linux on my son's computer in Windows, and it's working. The Linux version is working there pretty well.
Yeah, this would be enough basically, but the other would be a little bit easier to install then, but not really important.
No, the interesting is that I see Windows support. Possibly it was for tests. Merge requests are pull requests merged, right? So maybe we have it. Let me investigate a little bit more.
I heard the colleagues who are working on that saying that they are close and they have some prototypes. So if it's not available yet, it will be soon.
By the way, guys, I like to inform you that we have a new version of Rapidclipse, and if you plan to build a cool application for the hackathon, then you can use Rapidclipse to build a beautiful UI user interface based on Vaadin and web components, and maybe this will help you to build a even more impressive app for the hackathon, maybe to convince the jury. It's not mandatory, of course, but it's really very easy to use it and build a really great looking user interfaces by only drag and drop, and then the code is generated automatically behind the scenes. So it's really easy, and you get out a beautiful user interface based on modern web components. And today we launched a brand new version. So download it. It's completely free. It's based on Eclipse, rapidclipse.com. Check it out, and maybe it's helpful for you.
And I have an answer from one of the developers that all the code is checked in, right? But we don't have this version released yet, right? So he may send me a link to the development version, and I'll give it to you for playing with it.
Yeah,
if you are brave enough.
Very good, thank you.
I'm waiting for the link myself, so as soon as he sends it to me, I'll pass it to you.
We are supporting JDK 11 and above on the language level, so we are testing on it on the Open JDK, if I'm not mistaken, and we have different pipelines. I know that there were the Windows pipeline for the build system in work. I don't know how's the progress on that, because
done.
It's done. Yeah. So we already have the Windows pipelines for building Helidon on the Windows, but I'm not aware about that we would be building, like on multiple JVMs, because the building is something else than the runtime. The testing is usually functional. For the integrations, we have the sidecar virtual machines, which are being run for the testing, the integration with the other technologies, which can be run directly from the JUnit tests. But we don't have many parallel builds for every kind of JVM out there. That's yeah. We are trying to be as much compatible with the JVM as it's specified, and if it doesn't work on JVM, it won't work anywhere. If it doesn't work on some specialized JVM from some another vendor than ours, then we can take a look at it, but I don't think it's our responsibility to keep the compatibility working, because in the end, all the JVMs should. That's the reason why we are using the JVMs, that should be compatible. I know there are the differences. I have been working some time ago and we had a problem with IBM JVM on the power machines.
J9.
That was WebLogic 6, so it's been something older, but I think it was Java 1.5, if I remember correctly, and that there were some bugs which were different to the bugs in the it was Oracle JVM then. Yeah, so there were differences, but there is so many JVMs, forked in the sideways in the market right now that
I know. I tested it. It was just a question because my friend, they are testing two other application, not the frameworks. You are only one what I know what test all the frameworks. It was the reason why I tried to ask to get some other information how we can do it better.
So my personal experience, I used GitHub Actions to test my little framework, and I configured this in a way that that it runs on Java Virtual Machine 8, 11, and 14, I think, and on Windows, Mac, and Linux, and this worked really quite well. So there you can define a matrix where the tests should be running.
And this is the metrics in Jenkins pipeline, declarative.
Yeah, and I don't think it's not a Jenkins pipeline. It's this GitHub Actions pipeline, but it's quite well documented in
GitHub Actions pipeline metrics.
Yeah, okay. I don't know if your project is on GitHub. So my project is on GitHub, and I have no problems to use the GitHub Actions then.
I know about the Jersey, which is the implementation for the rest we are using in the Helidon, that they are actually running the builds and all the tests on multiple JVMs. Like they are running it on 8 and 11 for sure, and there are some others. I don't remember which ones.
I have a question about Helidon. It's a little more a community question. It's the many people are using ADF framework and WebLogic server out there. And do you see that here is that many people are moving currently from WebLogic to Helidon? Is this currently a common migration path you see currently in the community? Or do you think that many people are still using WebLogic as a classic application server?
It's actually a bloody good question, Marcus, right? So there are still people who are heavily using WebLogic, right? And some of them do want to migrate to the modern cloud environments, but some of them do not, right? Because they do have it, it works and so on.
Yep.
But many of them actually do want to do it, right? Because they need to extend their applications, and sometimes they want to migrate to the cloud itself because of the cloud, you know, all the things cloud gives you, right? So we are trying to make it easier for our customers with Helidon. And it's mainly because we are supporting standards. Basically, it means that if you need to migrate your application to the cloud, into microservices, you will use that strangler pattern, right? And will extract piece by piece from your monolith into microservices, right? And if the microservices framework you use built on the same standards, right? The migration will be just copy pasting some code with some additional stuff you need to do, right? But the key point is copy pasting, because both WebLogic and Helidon support standards, right? So that was the point, and we are working on it. We are trying to make the life of our customers easy, and this is actually why we are offering Helidon support as part of WebLogic support, right? So if customers who's using WebLogic decide to go to microservices, they choose Helidon, and we won't lose any support, so that we can still, you know, ask us as Oracle to, you know, fix some stuff, and if something doesn't work, basically we can provide support. Yeah, hope I answered your question.
Yeah, great. Very interesting. Yeah, I think there's really a huge potential, because it's it's a huge community using WebLogic, and all the legacy Oracle Forms applications are based on the WebLogic server. So
it's not only about WebLogic. It's true about any enterprise Java server or Jakarta server, right? So it can be WebLogic, it can be, I don't know, Payara, or it can be WebSphere or whatever. The important part is Java EE. It's a standard, and Helidon is using the same standards, right? So easy migration.
There's a question in the chat from Frank. He asks if it makes sense to use Helidon together with Quarkus. Does it make sense to drive a BMW together with a Mercedes?
Yeah,
you can do that. It makes sense.
No, it's possible. You know, I know guys who created quite a big microservices system, right? And they used for one microservice they used Helidon, for another one they used Spring Boot, actually for quite a few of them, right? They tried Quarkus on one, and they used something like Node.js for some others, right? So this is really multilingual. Does it make sense? If you ask me, I would say no, but are people doing it? Yes.
Developers often do things that makes no sense because they are able to do that.
Yeah.
The technical question comes to my mind because I'm dealing with this the last week. If I in Helidon, if I use the transactional annotation, then there will appear an object store directory in my root of the project. Is it possible to configure somehow where this directory should appear? I did not find it directly. Probably also in some documentation for the.
It's a good question. I don't have an answer. Possibly you can, right? If folks on the call can't answer the question, I'm suggesting you posting it to our Slack channel,
Yeah. Okay.
And we have a guy Laird or Thomas Langer. We will answer it. Usually folks are really quick to answer questions.
Yeah.
So please,
Okay.
so please do it.
Yeah, I do it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody, for joining. What was a great discussion, and thank you to the Helidon team for joining. For all who are new to the hackathon, subscribe to the channel and try Helidon. Build cool application with MicroStream. So happy hacking and thank you for joining. Goodbye.